Hello there and welcome to day 23. It is the 23rd. Today I wanted to talk about something that sparked from my hopefully final attempt to film the intro. Although when I was in hot yoga tonight, I had the thought of a better way yet again to capture my message essentially for that intro. So maybe going for round 8. I don't even know at this point. But what I was thinking is in regards to something I said about the purpose behind this being something to reach towards is just being yourself, being able to be yourself in public, and to be not even just in public but around other people. So in doing so, I also wanted to dive just a tiny bit deeper into my personal situation, because that's how you get to know the case study that you're trying to read up on, is to find out more about the case that is being studied. The main thing I would say, as I mentioned in my intro video that I did earlier today, is social anxiety is basically the biggest thing, and not being able to be yourself. And what does it mean? That's what I really want to hit on here, is what does that mean, that saying I'm unable to be myself? Because it is kind of, I don't know, just after I filmed myself talking about that, I was like, well, it's kind of ambiguous, isn't it? It's really hard to perhaps understand. So I'll explain what that means to me, and then if you disagree, go ahead and leave your thoughts about what it means to want to be yourself around others, in public, in very specific situations, whatever it is. But to me, what I was thinking when I was sweating my ass off in hot yoga is, and I don't know how my mind drifted, it was a pretty intense class, first one back in a while. I just thought about how there are certain times when, and this is maybe the best way to think about who you are if you're trying to maybe do an exercise, to ask yourself, which this is a great exercise, but who am I? The who am I exercise. It's kind of a meditation, something that was like the first psychedelic experience I've had from meditation ever. It was insane. I shot across the universe, out of my head, out of my crown chakra. It was gnarly. That was 8 years ago now. But anywho, you just ask yourself, who am I? You let something come to mind, and then you allow it to float away and be like, that's not who I am. Who am I? And then something else, and you're basically peeling back layers of this onion that eventually get to the core of who you are. There's also this concept of, which that meditation is amazing. Go ahead and give that a try. Set an alarm for 15 minutes and just keep asking yourself, who am I? But there's another metaphor of the mirror. I've liked this one. I think Don Miguel Ruiz talks about something similar in the Four Agreements, like the Toltec wisdom. But the concept of the mirror is that it's like you are yourself looking in a mirror, or you are the mirror, and well, you're actually not the mirror, which this actually kind of relates to a Zen philosophy that I just read about in the Joseph Campbell book that I talked about. We imagine this lake or this pond, what have you, this body of water that is still, and when it is still, you can see, or it's actually just a reflection of real reality, and we see this reflection and assume that that is reality, and then waves come and cause all these ripples. And for the mirror thing, I think the analogy goes that you can get a bunch of dirt and dust and grime, whatever it is, on the mirror and be unable to see your true self. It's kind of like the onion calming the winds in the lake analogy. Peel back the layers to find out who you are, or getting a glimpse, even perhaps there's one little piece of the mirror that's not completely covered, and one spot on the body of water that's a pretty accurate reflection. But anywho, what I think might be a valuable exercise is asking yourself, what moments have you felt like you could just be and communicate and participate in a group setting around other people, and you felt like, yeah, I feel really passionate about what you just said, or just able to get your ideas across, and it felt just overall like a positive social experience. I think that's when I think I've seen who I truly am, and why that's my evidence that I can, be better at being social, but also I can be more naturally myself. And it's not only is it effortless, but it feels great to just participate as you and not feel like you're putting on some kind of mask or wearing some costume to fit into a certain social setting. And that, I would say, is the ultimate goal. Because enlightenment, that's not the goal here. We're not getting that presumptuous. But just to be able to rid yourself of any mask, of any jacket, cloak, whatever you want to call it, and be that authentic, shiny core of the onion or shiny, reflective mirror, and see yourself and be proud of who you are in whatever setting it is, and to calm the winds and maybe even look up from that lake, which I don't know if this fits the Zen metaphor, but take a look up and see see the real world, see the real you, as opposed to this reflection, which is distorted by all sorts of things. And what that really comes down to is when you're around certain people, you tend to wear masks. You tend to just put on this persona that is potentially not you. And maybe it's you with a little bit of twang, or maybe it's you with a little bit of style because you're around certain people. And maybe it's you that's like very cautious and protective because you're around people of authority, or, which is a big one for me, people of authority and that I feel insignificant around or inferior towards. That's when my brain really shuts down, even around family. Like, that's the crazy thing. But, the human brain, it's a pretty fascinating mechanism. Hopefully we can take some steps to clean off the mirror. Maybe there's an onion peeler out there. We can slowly and delicately peel off one layer at a time, and that's the way. That's the way to the core of who we are. I hope that everyone can experience that, at least to some degree, of just feeling not just free, but happy, grateful, and excited to be who you are around other people. And I feel like, having felt that briefly a few times in my life, that it is something worth striving towards. So I'll talk to you tomorrow and see if maybe we can find some more ways to get ourselves from where we are to where we want to be. See you tomorrow.